Hey guys, insight number 4. So we're still in Genesis 45. Again, there's so much goodness this week. I really just prayerfully picked out 5 scriptures that just so much stood out to me for different reasons. I think more pertaining to what I'm going through and what's in my life. So hopefully it speaks to some of you out there. It's just what really spoke to me. So verse 20 of Genesis 45 interested me because recently we've had some of our older church members in this area through COVID and different circumstances that just arise as you age, where their spouses have passed away or they need to go into a home because they can't live by themselves anymore and they don't have children to move in with. Some of them are stubborn, staying at home, insisting that people put their lives at risk with, getting COVID infections to come around and care for them 24/7. And it's just like they're expecting a lot and they're caught up on stuff. It's inspired in our household, and I know my mum's household next door, to have a large clean out of stuff because we don't want to be caught up with all the stuff. So this verse really spoke to me, and I think we can learn a lot from this. So this is Joseph talking to his brothers and saying, look, I'm going to send you off with X amount of carts and I think 7 wagons or something, whatever, and just gather everything. Come, don't worry about the stuff because I'll take care of you. You're going to have everything you need right here. I've got space for all of you, got homes, you're all going to be set up, it's fine. Miracles, right? Awesome. I mean, if someone said that to me, it's like, oh, come and stay. I've already got a house for you. You don't have to pay for it or anything. Just come be. I'm like, okay, let's go, right? So, but I just love this part here. So this is verse 20. It says, also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. Now, Egypt's got a lot of good in it. It's a pretty nice place in some places, right? And there's some icky places now, but it's a nice country. And you've got all the good in it because of who I've become. Joseph's saying, because of him. And he's not being prideful in that. He's just saying, I am able to take care of all of you. But that line, also regard not your stuff. Yeah. He's also like, it's like the place I have prepared for you is better than you can imagine. And that's what the Lord says to us too. The place I've got prepared for you is better than you can imagine. So my question to you is, how much are you stuck on your stuff when God will provide? God will provide better than you have if you need it. We're careful. But how much are you stuck on the stuff? So Joseph here instructs his brothers to gather the family and bring them into safety, saying, don't worry about all the stuff, I will look after you. In likeness to Christ, who also tells us not to worry about the stuff, he will look after us. Don't sweat the small things. I got you. It's all good. I got your back. I'm with you. You're good. So how does being stuck on the stuff hold us back and letting God prevail with better? How much stuff just simply doesn't matter? Like, what are we caught up on? My sister and I were talking last week, I think, because I'm still cleaning out places because I've lived in this house now 20 years, and there's just the stuff that accumulates that I've never looked at or used in all that 10 years or more. And it's at the back of a cupboard, fallen down behind the couch or whatever, and we just haven't moved. So we haven't cleaned out like that. So we're doing deep cleaning of the stuff. And we were talking about how, because of our childhood, we're hanging on to things like clothes that we really don't need. I was talking about the pile of rag towels I have that, I'll happily give away all the sentimental cards because I'm not caught up on that kind of stuff. I'm not hanging on to, all the pictures that we ever drawn for me from the primary kids. I'll pick 1 or 2 that are the best of theirs, and I've got those in a box nicely put away because I love my, primary kids are taught, you always do, right? But you can't keep everything of your kids and your nieces and your nephews and the vast ward families that you get involved in. You can't keep everything, every little school project or everything. It's just, it would you need storage units for days, right? So we're talking about these towels that have holes in them. I use them to, clean the floor, and if there's a spillage or, got to clean the car, buff the car, whatever, that's what we use these towels for. And I'm hanging on to these towels, but I'll get rid of all the sentimental cards and stuff. It's just like, what stuff are we caught up on? Why are we hanging on to it? We talked about why are we hanging on to these things. It's like because the childhood we had nothing. So the towels that we're now using to clean the car and the floor and stuff were the ones that we would use in the shower and the bath because that's all we had. And sometimes we even had to share it because that is all we had. So now when we've got them, we hang on to them because of our past trauma. So really think about that. What are you hanging on to because of a past trauma or like an obsession you have with something that you actually really don't need? I gave away all of my cross-stitch stuff because it has sat there for like 10 years and I've tried seriously to get back into it and it's just not happening. And I don't like it anymore. I've tried doing it and it's just not me anymore. I mastered the skill. I'm done. I've moved on to other things. I've got new hobbies. So I'm like, I don't actually need any of this anymore. And I was able to give it to someone who's going to use it and was so happy because she needed some of those colours and they're not available right now because of the shipping issues with COVID. So she was super, super happy. Now it was probably a couple of $100 worth of stuff, but I'm not caught up on the stuff. And I'm really trying hard to not be caught up on the stuff because I know that God has promised better if I don't get hung up on that stuff that's preventing me from moving forward. Now you can put this into a physical type thing or a mental thing. What are you sweating out? The stuff. The stuff doesn't matter. And how much you stuck on that stuff when you know God will provide. It doesn't mean that you don't prepare and look after yourself because we talked about that last week. You've got to prepare. We've kept stuff in storage, like I've kept basic things, like basic clothes. But I have a lot of clothes I cleaned out that I just don't wear. I actually don't even need them. I really, really don't need them. And so I cleaned out that stuff. But I also do that mentally. I go through and I'm like, I really don't need this stuff that's just hanging around in here. It's preventing me from letting God come in and give me better. So how much you stuck on the stuff? Think about that. And what could you clear out that you really just don't need? It's just so much like breezier and airier when you do it. So think about that. I just like that phrase. That he says that even back then, and it applies now. It is applied through all of earth life. Don't get caught up on the stuff. Okay, last one. I'll see you there.